The death room of Henry VIII. Oh yes, buckle your codpieces and pour yourself a goblet of wine, because we're about to take a delightfully sassy stroll through the final, gloriously grim chapter of history's favourite drama king, Henry VIII. Yes, he of the 6 wives, 2 beheadings, and 1 exploding ego. This is the fabulously morbid tale of the death room of Henry VIII. Where royal power, leg ulcers, and pure Tudor drama collided. Welcome to Whitehall, where the curtains are heavy and the drama heavier. By 1547, King Henry VIII wasn't exactly the poster boy for health and wellness. If Renaissance Instagram had been a thing, his selfies would have been smiling through the gout, while casually leaning on a jewel-encrusted cane. Once a dashing prince in tight tights, he was now 55 years old, massively overweight, and suffering from a festering leg ulcer that could clear a room faster than an open fire in a rush-hour tavern. His final days played out at Whitehall Palace, the royal equivalent of go big or go home, originally acquired, from Cardinal Wolsey in 1530. Whitehall was Henry's pride and joy. It had over 1,500 rooms, which in 1,490 more than anyone ever needs, and was basically the Buckingham Palace of its day, but more timber, more smoke, and significantly more ghosts. Today, only the banqueting house survives, which is ironic, considering Henry's last days were very much not a party. The death room, where velvet, stench, and political anxiety meet. Now, let's set the scene for Henry's final exit. His bedroom, somewhere in the now-vanished Privy Lodgings, was the original sad boy man cave. Heavy Tudor tapestries, check. Flickering candlelight casting moody shadows on the walls, check. A grotesquely massive 4-poster bed, oh absolutely. And then there was a smell. Let's not sugarcoat it. Henry's leg was oozing, festering, and probably its own ecosystem by then. Physicians slathered it in who knows what, wine, honey, powdered unicorn horn, but nothing could mask the scent of the royal decay. The atmosphere was solemn, tense, and rank. You had weepy courtiers, panicked doctors pretending to know what they were doing, and one very uncomfortable archbishop nervously checking for a pulse while standing upwind. The king who couldn't stand up or shut up about his legacy. Despite being too sick to move and looking like he'd eaten his former self, Henry VIII was still, in his mind, England's top-tier alpha king. This was the man who broke up with the Pope via angry letter, married 6 women and got rid of half of them like a spoiled meat, burned through monasteries like they were discount real estate, and gave us that church, the whole Church of England thing. So in his final moments, he wasn't just dying, he was also contemplating his legacy. Unfortunately, between the swelling, the ulcers, and the fact that medicine in the 1500s was basically guess and bleed, he was mostly unconscious. Enter Archbishop Cranmer, summoned like a last-minute therapist. He knelt by Henry's bed and asked if His Majesty still believed in Christ. Henry couldn't talk, shocking. So he squeezed Cranmer's hand. That's it. That was the final moment of the most bombastic, wife-collecting, palace-smashing King England had ever seen. No dramatic monologue, no epic last words, just a sweaty hand squeeze and a slow, awkward fade to black. But what happened next? Burnt to a crisp baby. After Henry shuffled off his mortal coil, the Tudor staff did what royals always do after a major death. They panicked and redecorated. The room of his death, probably reused, possibly turned into a hallway, maybe just burnt in the Great Fire of 1698 that said, let's erase the place where England's most infamous king died, but keep the banquet hall, because, obviously. And you know what happened next? Edward VI took the throne at 9 years old. Everyone started fighting over power, and Henry's ghost allegedly began making rounds. That's right, his ghost. Some say he haunts a banqueting house. Others claim his puffy spirit roams Hampton Court looking for a seventh wife and a decent foot massage. Either way, the man refuses to let go of the spotlight, of course. Tales from the Tudor crypt, aka Did the Corpse Explode? One deliciously revolting tale that Henry VIII's body literally exploded in his coffin en route to Windsor Castle. According to a suspiciously poetic story, his bloated body burst open and dogs licked the spilled royal goo from the floor of the coffin cart. Truth? The coffin probably leaked a bit, but Tudor rumour mills were faster than Twitter. One sniff of drama and boom, the king blew up and wild dogs licked his corpse, because nothing says end of an era like canine buffet. The legacy of a room that's completely gone, but still serving drama. Let's be real, the room itself, dust, gone, swept away by fire, time, and probably a bored 17th century architect who said, "This bedchamber smells weird, burn it." But its vibe? Iconic. It was where a king who changed the entire structure of English religion died. The man who invented royal spin and PR divorces met the only thing he couldn't outmaneuver, his own body. And monarchy moved from velvet-cloaked chaos to baby Edward, who lasted all of 5 minutes before everything went sideways. Henry's death chamber might not exist anymore, but its ghost is alive in every historical fiction novel, every dramatic BBC special, and every teenage girl who whispers, "Divorced, beheaded, died" in history class. The final curtain call of a man who always wanted an encore. Henry VIII's last room, opulent, smelly, shadowy, and ultimately doomed, was the perfect symbol of his life. It was grand, expensive, self-important, and full of regret. He went out not with a bang, but with a limp handshake and a legacy more tangled than his wife's family trees. And so, dear watchers, the next time you stroll down Whitehall, look around, picture it. The flickering torchlight, the soft sobbing of courtiers, the faint echo of Henry's ghost demanding a roast goose and another annulment. Because even if the room is gone, the drama, it lives forever.